Hey, it's Nicola. Today I'm talking about Campfire for Woman's Heart. These are inspirational life stories by women and it's been written by Natalie Stockdale. Now stay with me, I've got some freebies coming up. I've got the Your Story Family System. You get some information about that at the end to help you record a loved one's life story. But let's jump into this book. I've got it here. If you're watching the show, I went to the book launch of this recently, and the full title is Campfire for a Woman's Heart, Stories of Resilience from Inspirational Women, as I said, by Natalie Stockdale. And it's a really empowering read. It's put out recently. It's about tales of trauma and tragedy from 25 women from around the world. And it's been released in times for Mother's Day here in Australia by Big Sky Publishing. So it's the second in the Campfire for the Heart series, and in today's show we're going to tell you a little bit about the book, how Natalie wrote it, and tips she's got for us as fellow life story creators. So let's jump in. So I just want to introduce how Natalie introduces herself. She calls herself an author and a resilience coach, and she's on a mission to make people, one, happier, but also two, more resilient. And she says it's really important to know not what happens to us that really matters, but it's how we react to what happens to us. And that's really the crux of these books. Natalie says she learnt this the hard way herself. She had a really traumatic marriage breakup in 2009, and then 18 months later she developed cancer. So she knows firsthand about resilience, and she actually got asked by a client. They said, how do other people make the pain go away and find happiness again? And it was these questions that really sparked Natalie to start writing her first book, which was about 30 stories of Australian people. And this second book is 25 stories from women around the world. And in there's stories about overcoming different types of hardship. We've got Taliban terror, there's illegal imprisonment and torture. 2, there's tragic loss of loved ones, disease, abuse and injuries. It sounds really dark, but I'm not painting a full picture yet. Let's jump into the next section about how Natalie did the writing of this book and why it's so important. So she says she got into writing when it was COVID. She'd been writing on her yacht for about 18 months to do the first book. But the second book, she had to give it a push. She had 6 months to do that one because she had publishing deadline at that point. She said it took the most time to find storytellers. They had to have a balance that, of women from different parts, of different stories, not just sort of similar themes. So she sent questions to them and asked them whether they would write responses or whether they would talk over the phone or verbally do an interview. And then there would be back and forth drafts until everybody was happy. There was some difficulty though in this process in that, yes, as I mentioned, she had to find the right people who had not just a good yarn to tell, but they wanted to share it and they were able to impart the lessons that overcoming these hardships had for them, and then that helps the reader. So the storytellers, as she calls them, some of them said that this process was therapeutic and it really increased their self-awareness. And then response to the book from the readers says that it's really touched them deeply, some of these stories, really, really touching stories. But it's also helped them overcome whatever hardships they've had in their life and develop and understand resilience. But in reflecting the book, just move on to this section of the show. Natalie said she did have some favourite sections. It's hard, of course, to pick favourite stories. Some did resonate more with her. She said there was Amina. She confronts animal cruelty in Egypt. Also Tamana. She's got this amazing hope and gratitude, even though she's being oppressed by the Taliban in Afghanistan, a young woman. Then whereas Regina from Ukraine, she's looking forward to a thrilling, as she calls it, new future here in Australia. She's escaped the war in Ukraine. And then Linda, she hiked the Camino after being told she would never walk again. So there's some fantastic stories in this book. I won't give it away, but yeah, you'll want to have a read. But in terms of lessons for us as life story creators, Natalie says, number one is focus on lessons, not just the narrative. So it's these lessons, these life lessons, that's what your reader is really going to value, they're going to connect with. So not just what happens in the story, the plot line, but what is the theme, or what are the messages that you're trying to convey? What is that wisdom? What are those golden nuggets? Now, she also says there's a favourite proverb that she likes to sort of write or live by. She says, tell me the facts and I'll learn. Tell me the truth and I'll believe. But tell me a story and it will live in my heart forever. Now, I really like that one too. Isn't that great? But that's basically, in a nutshell, it's a review of this case study, Campfire for a Woman's Heart, and it's by Natalie Stockdale, who is actually an Airlie Beach, Queensland. In Queensland, she's a resilience coach and she's helping others overcome adversity. So to recap, we've talked a little bit about the book, a little bit Natalie's story and how she came to create and publish the books, and then we've got some reflection of, you know, what it is we can take away for our own life story projects. So I hope that this show is going to really show you the power that life stories can help others and they can really help them find happiness again. So it is well worth your while creating life stories. So this show is just a snippet of a bigger article I have about it over at my website. Go to foreveryoungautobiographies.com/campfire for a woman's heart. Now I have the link for that in the show notes, so please go and check it out. And if you've got a gutsy story that you'd like to share, leave it in the comments here or again over at that article on the website. I'd love to hear about it. But before we go, I mentioned the Your Family Story system, some free sections to that to help you get started recording a loved one's life story. Similar to what Natalie's doing, we're interviewing someone and then we're helping to record that valuable life story and also the lessons. And we're going to publish it and share it with family and friends. To get the first few sections, you need to go to foreveryoungautobiographies.com/free. Now, I'll be back again soon with another topic about life stories. I'd be really happy if you could follow, subscribe, like the show, leave it a review, and I'll see you soon. Happy writing.